Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Now this year is already whizzing by, huh? You're a year closer to retirement, but are your savings a year closer? If they're not and you're worried that you won't make it, get in touch with Noble Gold about putting precious metals in your IRA or 401k. You won't get hassled, they'll just lay out your options. And this month they're gifting a 1/10 ounce solid gold American Eagle coin with any qualifying plan that you start. And all you got to do is call 877-646-5347 or you can visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. Now, let's get to this video. I hate to hit y'all with a little bit of identity politics, but I'm gonna let you know. If you voted for the Democrats, you a sellout to your whole race. The human race, that is. This video is brought to you by Extreme Tees. If you like what you see, click on the link below this video and put Kevin in the promo code and you'll get yourself a 20% discount. What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner. That's right, man. Everybody always talking about, you know, selling out and all that crap, especially for black folks. As soon as you, as a black person, decide to vote for a conservative or a Republican, all of a sudden your blackness is questioned, y'all. Because see, the Democrats love to major in breaking us apart and making us think that we should be shamed to vote for who we want to vote for, and it all should be based on race. Well, I'm here to confirm you're right. It should be based on race, but not your ethnicity or your biological race or all that crap. I'm talking about the human race, man. And when you see what these Democrats are doing to humanity, you gotta be a sellout to vote for. You gotta be one that's willing to portray your own future, your own survival, your own safety. And I'm about to prove it throughout this montage, y'all. So let's see how many sellouts we got out there that's willing to vote against their very race, the human race.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine. There will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
How will you do that exactly?
We will. I promise you, we'll be able to do it.
You hear that? Wonderful, brilliant answer. Now, you got to be crazy to vote a person in that has a mental capacity of that's so compromised that his explanation is wonderful, brilliant answer of details is simply, we'll be able to do it. You got to be willing to put your whole safety, well-being at jeopardy to vote for that guy. You done sold out, man. You done sold yourself out. You done sold us all out if you voted for that man. But you know what? I'm going to make a wonderful close and shut argument about this. We're going to go ahead and identify who the real sellouts are. Here we go.
A few weeks ago, the CEO of Intel, Pat Gelsinger, you've heard me say all along when I was running and since I've got there, the world's at an inflection point.
Now, did y'all hear that Scooby-Doo moment? That dude got stuck. That dude right there was master mixing. Yeah, this the guy. This the guy people went and sold us all out to vote for. Okay, but you know what? The selloutism don't just stop there. Maybe if they would have saw all of this stuff before they voted, they would have sold us all out.
2 weeks ago, I went to Pittsburgh, where the Union Pacific Railroad announced the largest purchase of American-made electric battery locomotives in history. And just like we heard last week when Boeing announced $20 billion bill,
what?
$20 billion deal.
Y'all got that? Anybody ever seen one of those $20 billion bills? $20 billion bill. This is the man y'all sold us out for. I don't want you looking at no black folks, no white folks, Asians, Chinese, all of that mess. Get that mess out your head. We're here to protect and preserve the human race. And when you vote Democrats in and folks like that who have major powers to determine our lives, our safety, all of that, and this man is talking about $20 billion bills, you done sold out. You sold us all out. If you still supporting this guy, you still hanging on to this guy, if you still saying, well, he's better than Trump, you a sellout to the whole human race. Let's continue.
If you did not support Trump in 2020, you supported this guy. And so behold the great, dignified, mature, responsible president that you helped to elect.
I don't want to get going because I keep you here too long because you know all what I've said, and you know what I've done, and you know what we're doing, and I know what you're doing.
Yes. Franklin Roosevelt very famously said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." And Ronald Reagan famously said, "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this woe.
So what did Joe Biden say?
And I'm sure we will be reciting this for many years to come. Joe Biden famously said, play it again.
I don't want to get going because I keep you here too long because you know all what what I've said, and you know what I've done, and you know what we're doing, and you know what I know what you're doing.
I don't want to get going because you know and hear what I said, but you know and I know and you know and I know what you're doing.
I know that you know that I know. This man right there is playing who's on first, who's on second in his own brain. Anybody watch that and still say, yeah, man, I support my decision. I support the Democrats. The Democrats knew this guy was in this condition. They don't love you. They don't love your race. They don't love your little small group of victimization groups that's all out there. They don't care if you're gay, black. They don't care if you're Latino. They don't care if you're a woman, trans, all of that stuff. They don't care about that mess. They might get you focused on race, gender, sex. But these folks are trying to destroy half of the dang on the human race. When they put a person like Joe in, who's almost out of his mind, talking like that, they don't care nothing about the human race. And neither do you. Now, your selloutism might just be a result of ignorance, not knowing, being misinformed, or simply being deceived, misled, gaslit, all of that stuff. But that's why I'm here, to bring you out of it, man. You might have sold out before, but there's still time. There's still time, y'all. Hold up. Let's go to church for a second. There's room at the altar. That's right. You don't have to be a sellout no more. You ain't got to sell out your race, the human race, that is. But I just don't want to leave a real raggedy case out there. See, because when they call us sellouts, they can't really prove it. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to talk about policies. It's all about the skin tone. Okay? I'm trying to save the human race. So here we go. More evidence that if you support these Democrats and these globalists, I ain't talking about just our Democrats, globalists across the globe, these liberal, progressive people that really are Marxists, if you support that mess, you a sellout to your race. The human race. Look at this.
Bombshell report. Biden administration left 9,000 Americans in Afghanistan and originally only claimed 150. A new report released by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee found that as many as 9,000 Americans were left in Afghanistan during the Biden administration's disastrous withdrawal.
So more lies and deception. More not caring about the people he's supposed to be watching over, not caring about humans in general, not caring about all the Afghanistans that are over there stuck to deal with this mess. He don't care about that. And neither do you. When you vote for folks like this, who sell their own people out, sell their allies out, all of that, break all their promises. Remember, he was supposed to make sure all of them came home. Didn't do that. You voted for that dude and you still support him. You a sellout. Now, if you voted for him and you done woke up and repented along the way, you cool. You cool. Welcome to the club. But if you still supporting this mess, you a sellout to your race. The human race, that is. What more sellout?
This trucker protest in Canada, which I think has shocked all of us as freedom lovers, that it would come from Canada and
I like
truckers.
freedom.
But now you've seen Ottawa, Alberta, Saskatchewan all starting to roll back their mandates. I just saw a story that in France, they've started to protest there with Canadian flags, actually picking up the mantle and trying to roll back mandates there. And I guess I wonder, is this the elites that don't have the consent of the governed here?
During the pandemic, there's been this revelation that politicians believe that, in fact, they're kings or that they can do whatever they want in the guise of an emergency.
No, wait. Are you talking about the kind of king or tyrant that they was deeming Trump to be? The one that allowed us to have freedom of speech and supported that, freedom of religion, didn't believe in censorship, believed in the First, Second Amendment, all of that stuff. You're talking about that type of tyrant? Or are you talking about the type of tyrants that these politicians, these progressive globalists, has been governing like? The ones that put us on lockdown, don't give us real reasons why, always telling us it's about the science, want to go ahead and surveil us, want to go ahead and manipulate us, divide us, those type of tyrants. So please tell me what's going on up there, because I like freedom. Anybody who have not sold out the human race should like freedom, right? Let's continue.
It's fascinating to hear somebody like Trudeau talk about, disrupted economy. What's disrupted the economy are lockdowns, are vaccine passports, our lockdowns where you can't send your child to school. That is the disruption of the future.
Ooh, Tammy. So there you go, y'all. If you support these people and their agenda, you're a sellout. Not just to your human race, but if you got kids, if you want your kids to have a future, if you believe that by unnecessarily locking down our whole economy and other economies, by injecting you with stuff you don't want, by tracking your every movement, by setting up all of these checkpoints to make sure you got this and that. If you think that's a good thing for the future of your kids and the human race, then you a sellout to the human race. But let's continue with my case.
Really, this is what politicians in this country and in other countries rely on is fear. They want to make you afraid of getting arrested or being separated out from the group. They want to use pressure, totalitarian tactics, boots on your neck. This is a statement. And if you've got politicians who are supposed to be doing what's best for the people, what is beautiful here is around the world, people are saying enough is enough. Not just with, again, we want to take the pandemic seriously, but all throughout Europe. We've got this in Canada. What? Here at home, the founders were geniuses. They gave us elections every 2 years. But the fact is that we're seeing now the reversal of mandates because it is an election year and because they're starting to poll, Sean, as you know, for the primaries that are coming up before the general in November. And they are seeing, I think the Democrats are seeing a catastrophe for them in November. This has been about politics all along. Yeah. And now we're seeing the reversal of this. Because it's not based on science. The science hasn't suddenly changed. What? No, it's about their elections. It's about their jobs. This is where people also need to be heard, in addition to supporting the Canadians, the truckers that are there, also saying we're taking our country and our future back.
Now, because I stand for the freedom of all men, because I'm not a sellout to the human race, I support what they're doing up there. You know why? Because their freedom is our freedom. Our freedom is their freedom. If folks don't stand together and buck up against the small group of elitists that wants to take away all those freedoms and choices, you'll find yourself on that end of being called a sellout to your race. And I ain't talking about your blackness. I'm talking about the human race. Humans want to be free. These folks up here are not white nationalists. They're not folks out there that's insurrectionists. These are terms that these elitists just throw on them because they're tyrants. And those terms that they throw on them make people look at them not as freedom-loving patriots that simply want their rights. No, but instead, enemies to the state. Now, who does that benefit? Who does that keep in control when you support these folks who throw those labels on them? Who does that keep in control? Not the people. Yeah, it keeps those elitists in control, thus making you a sellout to the whole human race.
And I've never been told to follow unlawful orders. I've been always reminded by my supervisors, police question unsafe orders. Ask us questions if you think the orders are unlawful. And that's, I think, our job is. Thank you, truckers, for standing up for all of us, the Canadians and people who live in Canada. I chose this country.
Why?
Because I wanted to be free.
Free?
Over the last 17 years, I've been asked many times by my fellow police officers and public why I moved to Canada. I moved here by myself. And the only answer I had, very short and straight, I wanted to be free.
Everybody wants that.
My heart was being broken every day.
Why?
When I saw that the very freedom that I moved to Canada for has been taken away. And people, Canadians who lived here, were born here, they were not recognizing that. I fought here. I fought to come here to have it. And it was very difficult to see it to be taken away.
See that?
Thank you, truckers. Thank you, farmers.
Thank you,
truckers. People with open hearts.
Non-sellouts.
And clear minds for standing up. The police officers, when we could not stand up for you. I know it's clear in my mind what decision I will make. When I am asked to follow an unlawful order, I'm for freedom of choice, for freedom of conscience, for freedom of speech, for freedom of expression, for freedom of communication, and I'm to serve, protect, and to help out you people in Canada. Thank you.
Y'all hear that woman right there? She's a patriot, man. Dang on, I will swap her out for 1 million of our sellouts here in America that don't understand that when you give these people power and you support their cause, you're a sellout to the human race. That woman said folks that live in Canada, they don't understand what they were born into. She chose to come all the way to Canada by herself to escape some tyrannical regime. And then you get folks up there in Canada mad at these folks trying to fight for their freedom. Same thing here. If you're one of these people that's been brainwashed enough to fight against your fellow man who's fighting for freedom, whether you know it or not, thinking that, oh, these people right here is putting all our lives in danger because they don't want to get this and they don't want to put that on their face and all of this stuff. You're naive. You don't realize at some point what's good for the goose is going to be good for the gander. At some point when you disagree with the choice that's coming from these Democrats and other globalists, they're going to tell you, shut your mouth too. You could have stood your ground with the other freedom-loving folks that was fighting for humanity, but no. You sided with us thinking you was going to get some crumbs falling from the table. No crumbs for you. Sell out. You done sold folks out. If you ain't backing these folks who's fighting for their freedom, not your race, but the whole human race. Let's continue though, because this selloutism is just going all over the place, starting with these folks that done sold out with these fake behind news networks. Listen to this propaganda, y'all.
A nationwide insurrection. It sounds like, you're talking about the closed streets in the center of town there. It sounds like it's causing quite a bit of havoc, not just in that city, but across the country. Yeah, so the clip was just from our police chief here in Ottawa, Peter Slowly, and he said that the Ottawa police is overwhelmed, that they do not have the resources able to deal with what he's calling a siege and an occupation. And, this is not just a protest. Ottawa, like any capital city, is used to a protest. But here, right beside me, they set up a Plinko table. One of those games you would see on The Price is Right. They have open fire pits that are burning throughout the downtown. They have villages, essentially. They build structures on the street to keep people warm. They have a full set of I saw some pizza ovens the other day. Even in one spot, organizers had 3 different saunas and a hot tub set up. And the big question has been, why isn't Ottawa police enforcing this stronger? They say they just don't have the resources, that this situation is too volatile. It has started to get a little bit stronger, but most people are saying this has taken way too long, and we are now at a point where all of these trucks have lots of fuel, and it's getting too dangerous to do much of anything.
I want to be clear in how I characterize it. This is mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly. But fires have been started, and there's a crowd that is relishing that. What you're seeing behind you is one of multiple locations that have been burning in Kenosha, Wisconsin over the course of the night. Minneapolis today, with its charred remnants of last night's rioting, the fury
those are what, the safe fires?
Chaos.
Those are the safe ones, because the ones in Canada were dangerous.
The first night of an 8 o'clock curfew could prevent it.
Look at that. That's not occupying. That's not.
Through tear gas.
Oh, tear gas.
At the same time, a popular cafe went up in flames in North Minneapolis.
So what? The pizza in that cafe is all the way gone?
Able to put it out.
But the Canadian pizza.
Demonstrators at rampage. The violence, the anger, and the flames, at times well out of control.
Is that Canada?
Until dawn.
Am I looking at Canada? That doesn't look like Canada. That looks like the United States. The same networks aren't saying this right here is an insurrection. Oh. Anyone getting this done to them in Canada? I'm wondering. Wow, that guy. Ooh, I bet you he would rather be in Canada right now, where there's not people kicking him in the face. Yeah, look at all these peaceful protesters that's trying to burn up cops.
Stepping onto the highways, traffic was blocked on 35 and 94 near downtown for a couple of hours.
Yeah, but that's not as dangerous as Canada.
An earlier protest near U.S. Bank Stadium. Drivers were forced to stop their cars, some trying to wait it out, many others abandoning them completely. Some in the crowd overtook a delivery truck, taking packages and starting them on fire.
But those truckers
the fires devastated the uptown neighborhood, scorching someone's livelihood, someone's neighborhood store.
The Family Dollar's right there. I walk there probably 2-3 times a day.
That guy right there must be a black Canadian that's suffering from attacks of racism. Same thing.
My stuff, my friends. I got kids that live there.
Got kids, man.
I work hard to live there. I got a wife. I watch people who weren't even from out here running into Family Dollar, grabbing stuff like, you guys destroyed our community and y'all just go back home.
But these are mostly peaceful protests.
That my parents started 40 years ago, small, out of their garages. It's a small business. It's emotionally hurtful.
Yeah.
But we didn't do anything to anybody. Why did we deserve it?
Crowds spread out from the main roads and headed into residential areas, lighting literal dumpster fires in neighborhood streets, throwing in anything they could get their hands on.
Wow.
People living there felt the frustration on many levels.
Now, I'm just wondering. I'm just curious. If you're watching these networks and you buying into these narratives, you a sellout. Y'all didn't see those black people in that clip? Y'all didn't see those neighborhoods? Did it look like rich, nice neighborhoods they were burning up? No. If you're one that participated in all of that as you went in there destroying your own neighborhoods or black neighborhoods, if you're a white liberal that didn't even live there, but you let them bust your butt in so you can go in there and destroy black neighbors, you a sellout. Yeah. If you're a black person that's cool with this and think that's good that they're rioting and tearing up stuff, you're a sellout. And I ain't talking about your color. I'm talking about the whole human race. This impacts all of us. Sellouts to the human race. But it's still time for you. So I'm not going to be too hard on you guys. Let's continue examining the behavior in support of a true sellout.
CNN's medical expert, Leanna Wu, explains why it is so important to ditch the mask mandates as soon as possible.
You say we can start removing at least some coronavirus restrictions now. Tell us why.
Well, I agree with Colorado, with many other local and state jurisdictions that are beginning to lift government mandates. And I think this is the key. I'm not saying that we should be stopping masking, but rather that this needs to shift from a government requirement to an individual decision. The government can't keep on telling our citizens that this is a 5-alarm fire all the time. People are just going to start tuning it out and not pay attention. They'll be desensitized. And so what needs to happen is we need to end the state of emergency and preserve the ability of public health authorities to reinstitute mandates in the future if we see more dangerous variants later.
Well, see, there you go, y'all. But I'm going to help everybody out by translating it into what she really meant, okay?
You say we can start removing at least some coronavirus restrictions now. Tell us why.
Because people are getting real tired of these lockdowns, and they're starting to realize that we've been blowing smoke up their butt. And if we continue these lockdowns, what's eventually going to happen is people are going to push back to the point that when we want to implement our tyranny a little bit later on, we won't be able to. Plus, the elections are coming up, so we have to do, though, that these dummies who are selling out the human race can vote us back in, and eventually we can do it again after the smoke clears.
That's the translation of what she should have said. But Michael Knowles has his take on it too.
She's saying that we need to end the mask mandates, not to preserve the public health, but to preserve the authority of the public health officials. She's making not a scientific or a medical argument, but a political one.
There's no question that masking in our schools since the beginning of the school year has been a very smart public health step. I think we've had just over 2,600 cases of students with COVID positive since the beginning of the school year. That's out of 1.4 million kids. So it's a pretty stark piece of evidence, I think, that this has absolutely worked. But you got to meet the moment. You try always to not undershoot the moment and put lives at risk, or overshoot the moment and add more stress and mental health challenges to the system. And we think this plan of a month notice is going to get that as right as we can.
Yeah, but have you seen data that definitively proves that these mask mandates have worked? I mean, the numbers you just presented are impressive, but are they different from the numbers in states where they didn't have mask mandates?
Brilliant answer.
Yeah, again, I know Jersey Jake the best, but I'm highly confident, and I'm sure our health officials could say it definitively. There's no question they've worked.
Translation, I really don't know, and I don't care, because it wasn't about the lockdowns. It was about selling out my people that I'm supposed to be supporting. And I'm mad at you, Jake Crapper, for even asking me that question and putting me in this awkward position. I don't care about data. I don't care about the science. I care about power and control in our global agenda. And here you are making me look stupid by exposing my ignorance and my manipulation. And frankly, I don't give a darn about whether these kids were safe or not. All I care about is getting reelected, and people are so upset that I almost lost the election. So what we're going to try to do is create this perception that the Democrats are for freedom, liberty, freedom of choice. And we're rolling back all of these restrictions that destroyed your economy, put your kids on lockdown, put masks on them, all of this stuff, divided the country, forced folks to get shots and all of that mess. But now we're rolling it back because we want to try to win elections. And once that's over, we'll come right back with our non-science, non-data, non-proof that any of this is working, and lock y'all down again. And guess what? All those that vote for me, all those that vote for these Democrats will once again sell y'all out. Race traitors, y'all, to the human race. That's the translation for that bum. But then Pete comes in and he piggybacks off of my translation.
Give it to me about the hypocrisy of the left saying all our kids and all our citizens should wear masks, but they themselves don't wear masks.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, it's cartoonish at this point. The only person remotely vulnerable to COVID in that classroom with Stacey Abrams,
the one with the gap,
was Stacey Abrams. Yet the kids are masked and she's not, right? That's how they view the world, because it's not really about science. Or take Eric Garcetti, for example, out in Los Angeles.
I wore my mask the entire game, and when people ask for a photograph, I hold my breath and I put it here, and people could see that. There's a 0% chance of infection from that.
Who said, I took my mask off, but I didn't breathe? I didn't breathe? Like, the amount of arrogance you have to make that type of statement shows precisely what kind of leader you are.
And the amount of ignorance you have to vote for these people after seeing the hypocrisy that they leave out there constantly, trails of hypocrisy all over the place. They're raggedy excuses that they give you that simply demeans your complete intelligence. Saying stuff like I was set up, saying stuff like my face, I'm the face of Chicago, I had to get my hair cut, but not you guys. Saying stuff like Raphael Sadiq, the music was so hot I had to get up and dance without my mask. Saying, going down there to Florida to kick it with the transgenders and stuff and then all that mess. And telling you to put it on your face. And then this woman goes ahead and sells out the kids by sitting in there with no mask, but the kids got to be masked up. You got to understand that. Not the illegal immigrant kids. I don't want to get that confused. Those kids could come in and do whatever they want in America. But your kids, these American kids, slap that on them while I let this gap shine right there in front of all America to see. Which we can't miss that gap. It's so big. And then you get the other dude come right out there and sells out his people by saying, I held my breath. You think they bought that? No. Only the sellouts have? Oh, okay. All right. I held my breath, and that has no scientific base or relevance or anything. But you know what? Because some of y'all are willing to vote for us and sell out your whole race, the human race, we don't care. We'll throw that slop out there and say, now eat that. Sellouts. And then we come to this.
I declared a national emergency, which is what it is. This is an invasion. When you see these caravans starting out with 20,000 people, that's an invasion.
But this is even about my You know what I mean?
Arizona just referred to this. It says as follows: the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a Republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. And that's not happening. We see it all every day at the border, at bus depots, also lately at airports. In the middle of the night. Migrants, illegal migrants coming into this country. I believe that this is impeachable.
I do too. Let's just talk about that for a second. The number one thing that any leader should do is keep his people safe, protect them, shut down those borders, make sure nobody's invading. But yet, these politicians started selling out the country first, and those that voted for them say, you know what, I'm not just going to sell out the country. I'm going to sell out the human race. So if you're one that supports this kind of behavior and corruption by our government, you're a sellout. You have sold out the human race, because all of those illegal immigrants that they keep lying to y'all about, saying they're coming here for a better life and all of that, and we're a melting pot. They're not telling you about all of those cartel members that's also bringing all the drugs over here to destroy American citizens, thus humans, or them with all of those trafficked kids that's being abused, raped, some being even killed. They're not telling y'all about that. So these Democrats are willing to sell out all of these so-called beloved illegal immigrants for potential voters in the future and cheap labor, and yet convincing all of our sellouts that it's a good thing because of racism or something like that, and we're the melting pot. No, you're a sellout. If you support this crap, you can't pat yourself on the back as humanitarian or looking out for the... No, you're selling out humans. You're selling out the human race, because you're not seeing those kids being dropped over the wall. You're not seeing those kids being thrown out in the river. You're not seeing all these Americans that's dying from all of the drugs that the cartel is bringing over. You're not seeing that. So you voted for them and support this crap? You a sellout. But there's more areas of selloutism. What is this?
Crack pipes, smoking kits will be made available to people across the country, especially in the most beleaguered communities. Take a look at this headline, please. Biden administration to fund crack pipe distribution to advance racial equity. It's a disgrace. $30 million program will provide smoking kits to vulnerable communities. Smoking kits, including crack pipes. It reads further, if you don't mind, purchase equipment and supplies, enhance harm reduction efforts such as safe smoking kits and supplies. The priority populations for this program are underserved communities. What communities are those? Black, Latino, Indigenous, Native American persons.
Wait just a minute. You telling me these sellout politicians who lie to everybody are talking about they love black folks and other minorities? They love us so much that they're going to fill our communities with crack pipes. They love us so much that they're going to assist all of the folks with drug addiction to continue on that path. They love us so much that they let our neighborhoods become riddled with crime, murder. They love us so much that they don't even allow our kids to have school choice. They want to keep us right in there being loved by those Democrat policies and stuff. But here's the kipper. Black folks, other minorities, and white liberals vote for them. Now, either you are knowingly sellout or you are an ignorant sellout. And I ain't talking about your race. I'm talking about the whole human race. It impacts us all. But they want them to focus on racism and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm focused on racism, the human race. And if you support these crack supplying raggedy Democrats who would love to keep us all medicated up on drugs so we don't focus on how bad they're doing our cities and stuff like that. Yeah, if you support them, you a sellout. I don't want to hear another black person or minority talk about, man, you supported Trump. You a sellout. If you support them sticking crack in the minority areas, then you are the true sellout. In the truest sense, I ain't talking about just the human race. If you're okay with these folks supplying drugs in our neighborhoods and lying about some darn racial equality, you a dummy and a sellout and a triple sellout by selling out the whole human race. But let's hear how Joe was talking about being, tough on crack back in the day before. Wait, who is this person in the other side of Joe right here giving this tough guy speech back in the day? Okay, so he goes from tough guy speech maker to now he's dishing out crack. Could it be he went easy on it because of the guy on the screen over here to the right?
A piece of crack cocaine.
You understand that?
No bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand.
Well, what is that?
1/4 of $1. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others.
Dad,
a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years.
And I'm sure the
you get no probation.
Hunter right now.
You get
no probation.
Nothing other than 5 years in jail.
Yeah.
Judge doesn't have a choice.
His administration now advocating for crack pipe distribution to advance racial equity. This is insane.
It is insane. And that's why I said, if you support this crap, if you support these Democrats, these globalists, these tyrannical leaders, if you support that, you, my friend, are a sellout. And I'm talking about a sellout to the whole human race. Yeah, that's the only race I'm looking at. The human race. So now, if I'm getting this right, his own crackhead son didn't get thrown in the slammer. His own son that violated all of those gun laws. His son didn't get thrown in the slammer, and you're supporting that. You might as well go ahead and shoot your own self in the foot. You might as well go ahead and sign over your freedom to these tyrannical dictators right here. You might as well do it. Because one way or another, you're selling out, either knowingly or unknowingly. But I'm here to help you out. I want you to be conscious of selling out. Therefore, moving forward, if you vote for these folks after seeing my video and all of this stuff right here, then at least you can't plead, I was ignorant. All you can say is, you're right. I knew they were corrupt. I knew they didn't care about the people. I knew they didn't care about freedom of rights and choice and all of that stuff. I knew that. But I just chose to sell out. Not black folks, white folks. It's not about racism, but I sold out the whole human race. Because these people's agenda is bigger than black, white, and all of that. This stuff will impact every human being on the globe. So please don't sell out the whole human race. Now, God bless you. God bless America. And don't sell me out with your support by sharing these videos to everybody you supporting me, man. Don't sell me out, y'all. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you like. Make sure that you are subscribed to this channel. Make sure that when you subscribe, you hit that notification button. Make sure that button's set to all notifications because YouTube plays games. Also, if you want to support my channel, my Cash App, my PayPal link is in the bottom. Or if you want to just simply be a part of my $2 a month club where you just drop $2 in every month. If you remember, that's great too. And finally, check out Extreme Tees. They supplied this, y'all. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, word. Let's go, Brandon. What you want to do? That dude got to go. Joe got to go because he's the #1 sellout. Anyway. So, God bless y'all. God bless America. We'll see y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care.